Well, it was just a regular train with all kinds of passengers. There was no no threat or harassment or anything like that. It was just like hundreds of them riding, maybe I don't know, thousands. But anyway, it's a long train, and so we were just just like any other people who are traveling, and so there was no problem. So went to Pyongyang and changed the plane and changed the train, and then went to Wonson, and then say after 3 days, then we took another train to Yeoncheon. So the traveling was no problem. When we got to Wonson, I didn't know that we were going to stay 2 or 3 days, but father had an idea that that's where seafood, dried seafood, was very, very popular. Squid, dried squid. So that's where he bought this, I don't know how many, enough to my mom to carry on her head. And of course, my dad carried some of that in a knapsack, things like that. That was our capital, really. Because when we came to South Korea, we used that, we sold that, and to pay for, the hotel, not the hotel, but small inn, and the food that we bought. And also we had a few hours of sleep after we got there. All that was, with this squid that we sold. But my hunch is that my father had some clue someplace. Like, for example, we stayed in Wonsan for 2-3 days, and maybe there was some idea that you could carry dry squid, because in South Korea it's a rare thing. So that may have been his idea. As soon as we were off the train, people were required to stand in line, and there were 2 lines because there were North Korean guards watching to find any suspicious, people who might attempt to flee to South Korea. And so I guess they could tell by looking at the people whether they were, the native people in that area or were they, trying to escape. But anyway, because of that, my mom with the little baby was on the one line, and my younger sister and I were following my father on another line. And so we got out of the line and out of the train station, but we didn't see our mom. So after we checked in small inn, and my father said, go back and see if you can find our mom. I came back to the station. The train station was empty, and then she wasn't there. And so I went back home up to the hotel and told my dad about it. He said, well, okay, let's wait maybe another 10, 15 or whatever minutes and then go back. So which I did. And still there was no sign of my mom. So we began to feel that maybe this was it. Never see her again. And the people around the father talked to, they said more than likely because she was a woman and she might have been sent back to the way over northwest of, the hometown, because everybody had an ID card where it shows hometown or address. So that's what we figured, that my mom was arrested and then detained and then released and then sent back to hometown. I was 12 years old, my sister was 10 years old, and my father was, our 3 of us. And of course, the line was so, separate. We didn't see where she was except that there's a line. And so we got out. For some reason, we were not questioned or detained in any reason. So we got out the train station easily. It was difficult. It was difficult. Especially my father, I'm sure that, the thought of us not being able to see her again. And that was very difficult. In fact, after we crossed the 38th parallel, after we got through that was before we saw the South Korean policeman as we were walking, just the three of us walking toward the police station, because the place where we had our little nap and the food and the little in the bath and all that, they advised us, you go such and so far, there'll be a police station, you report to them so that they can check you out. And so as we were going this road, my father said, let's have a little prayer. Just the three of us. And I remember him praying, please help wherever she might be, that she might be all right. And the idea of being separated, the idea of never see her again, that really was heavy on his mind and all of us. Even though I was young, I could have sensed that my father was very, very, he was just, in tears just praying. But anyway, then we went to police station, got, questioned by the policeman and so on. And I told you about this, the part of the story where policeman was asking, why did you want to leave North Korea? Why did you want to come to South Korea? The lack of freedom of religion. And I'm a Christian. I'm a Christian, and I was an elder and so on. So that's when policeman said, if you're a Christian, what proof do you have? I said, I have my faith in you. And then he said, if you're a Christian, do you know how to pray Lord's Prayer? So he said, of course I do. Well, then recite it. So he did recite in his presence the Lord's Prayer. And because policeman was also Christian, he knew exactly what was going. And once he heard the prayer, he said, okay, the truck that was going to Seoul from that place, we got on the train and came to Seoul. And finally we went to uncle's home. And ironically, on the way to uncle's home, this was a Sunday morning, early Sunday morning, a couple was going, sort of like a picnic or something. And on this road, they saw my father, they were glad to see each other. And it turned out that they were living in the Beijing area when my father and my family was also living in the near Beijing area. And after World War II, the ship carried them to Incheon and then to Seoul, and they were living in the same apartment building with my uncle. And so they saw my mom arrived the night before. So the man told my father, your wife came to our uncle's home last night. And we heard that. My sister was jumping up and down. So we just ran as fast as we could, and there she was with the baby. So that's how we were reunited. Yeah.